What's up, fam? What we doing? What's poppin'? We up in the A All-Star Weekend.
Drop head. Mel Maxey.
Mel Maxey.
You know who this kid is already, right? I don't know who he is.
Pole Life.
Dude.
We doing the Pole Life.
Marcus Burns is good, baby. Mo B. Good, King.
Mel Maxey, what's happening?
Happy New Year's, fam.
Oh, Happy New Year.
Police have arrested the man they say murdered former Harlem drug lord Albert Alpo Martinez. Cops arrested Shaquem Parker. He's 27 years old. He was already being held on Rikers Island in a gun case. Police say he also has priors for burglary, robbery, and drug possession. Mr. Martinez was gunned down in October of last year while in a car on Frederick Douglass Boulevard near...
Yo, face! Show your face, please, with sugar on top!
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Hookah Anonymous _. You guys been telling us to create one for the longest, so we recently created a community where we will upload videos that we can't share on YouTube due to their guidelines. We'll also be dropping the latest to there first, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't find anywhere else on our socials. So make sure you become a member, and after you do that, head over to our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _ and follow us there. Now without further ado, let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, first and foremost, shout out to JTRT Podcast, because I seen his video about this situation, which made me want to do a video on it and speak about it as well. Because if y'all been tuned in to us for a while, y'all know that we've been covering the Alpo death situation and the allegations that surrounded it. One thing I always tell y'all is that the truth is one way. Whenever you gotta second guess something or it sounds confusing and it throws you off, it's usually a lie, and we know that the devil is the master of confusion. I say that all the time because that should help you weed out a lot of things whenever you hear something and it don't sound too right. With this Alpo situation that transpired, it's either one or two things. Alpo was set up by them higher ups due to him signing that $4 million deal, or it was all done just to get Alpo off the scene and he's somewhere off the grid. I know it sounds crazy, but these days in this world, nothing is far-fetched. Trust me. And it's interesting enough that we found out that the guy who was accused of taking Alpo's life was just recently acquitted, because from the beginning we told y'all that the story the news tried to give us never made sense. And the fact that he was acquitted confirms that he really didn't have nothing to do with it in the first place. It was all kind of just a cover-up. Now let's be real, in New York, it's no way you're getting acquitted for taking a man's life, and they know that you was a suspect behind it. We're talking about the same place that's given a 3 to 5 just for possessing a weapon. So imagine taking someone's life in New York and you get acquitted. Don't sound right. Now, since Alpo's passing, there's been all types of conspiracy theories, as most would call it, and I think his acquittal just may confirm a lot of what people were saying in the past. So what we're going to do is revisit some of the information that we know about the case and also compare it to the information that we got now in regards to why they're saying the suspect was acquitted in the case, and I want to hear what you guys think about it. Before we get into all that, make sure you hit that thumbs up button so we can get this video into the algorithm. And if you're not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it. Albert Alpo Martinez was a former infamous drug kingpin from the 80s, hailing from Harlem, New York, where he would make a name for himself at a young age. From designer clothes, having the best cars, women, he was very flamboyant and did different than the average kingpin. Everyone loved Alpo, but his reputation will always be tainted for two reasons that people would never let him live down, which was him taking the life of one of his partners by the name of Rich Porter and becoming a confidential informant after he was indicted for his dealings in the street. As he was locked up serving his long prison sentence, many guys would come forward disrespecting Alpo's name, labeling him a rat, stating that no matter what he did in the street and what he's known for, he snitched, so it all gets taken away from him. Alpo still had people that supported him and spoke highly of him, and one of those individuals were people such as Harlem native by the name of Miss T. Miss T was close to Alpo, and even in his absence, she still spoke highly of Alpo and defended him amongst those that spoke down on him. However, a lot of that would change when Alpo would finally be released after serving 35 years in the 80X Supermax Federal Prison in Florence, Colorado in 2015. He was placed in witness protection under a new alias, but if you knew anything about Alpo, you know for sure he couldn't stay away from Harlem. With that being said, new sightings of Alpo began hitting social media, of Alpo being all over Harlem, and Alpo even called himself checking a few guys that had something to say while he was gone. He welcomed everybody that had something to say to meet up with him and tell him how they truly feel to his face like a man. Unfortunately, though many people had something to say while he was gone, they didn't take the offer. One of those guys were King Erna. King Erna is a podcaster from Philly who oftenly spoke on Alpo and said he wasn't honorable for what he did. He would always call Alpo out his name and publicly make fun of him, but it was a situation that transpired on Flip the Script podcast when Alpo actually called Flip to send King Erna a message. Flip will later reveal that Alpo was in the area lurking and waiting for King Erna outside. But out of respect for Flip, nothing transpired. King Erna is one of the many people that didn't have the same energy for Alpo after his release, as it's also rumored that Alpo caught Jim Jones and had a talk with him for calling him a snitch and taking the label of being the ghost of Rich Porter, his former friend. However, let's move on to the allegations surrounding his death and what happened the fatal night Alpo was shot and unalived. On Halloween night, October 31st, 2021, it's been reported that Alpo appeared at a costume party in Harlem. There's no real details surrounding what happened if you go according to the news, but the New York Post would suggest that Alpo was the victim of a drive-by shooting as he sat in his 2017 Dodge Ram at 147th Street and Frederick Douglass Boulevard around 3:30 a.m. It was revealed that he was shot at least 5 times. That was a story that the news articles posted, but somehow that would transition into a different story where it would be alleged that Alpo was unalived by a young guy in the neighborhood named Shaquem Bookie Parker. The story behind him is that allegedly, Alpo was riding his motorcycle that he infamously rode around Harlem, and he would get into it with Parker over recklessly driving it because reports say that he struck Parker months before his passing, and Parker held a grudge for months. So when Parker spotted Alpo on Halloween night around 3:20 a.m., it said Alpo was in his 2017 Dodge Ram pickup truck when Parker passed by and fired 3 shots into the truck's driver's side. Then he proceeded to fire 2 more additional shots, striking Alpo in the arm and chest area, where doctors stated one of the bullets hit Alpo in his heart. Although most people thought it was an old rival of Alpo's, Shaquem Parker, which was 27 at the time, was shortly arrested for the slaying, and he was already sitting on Rikers Island Correctional Facility for a prior gun case that he was fighting. After waiting for a trial for 2 years for the case, a trial started in June of this year and lasted for a few weeks, as Parker was recently acquitted of the body and shortly released from prison. Now, there's a lot of questions when it comes to the situation because the trial details haven't been put out there at all. All we know is that he was acquitted, and that's all we've been told. We haven't been told why he was acquitted, and we don't know on what grounds they stand on to feel that he's an innocent man in Alpo's demise. Now, from the backstories, it seemed like he was the guy, and they had a motive as to why he did what he allegedly did. So how would he be acquitted, and what was the reason behind his acquittal? Now, these questions are important because this fits into everybody's narrative, where some people feel Alpo is still alive and others feel Alpo was set up if he is in fact not alive. Whatever you believe, the fact that Shaquem Parker was acquitted, the next questions become, so who did it? Because y'all held him as he waited for trial for 2 years and he was the only suspect. So if he was, who is now considered guilty? Because Alpo didn't unalive himself. In fact, where's the camera footage? It happened in New York, right? In the open. And there's cameras everywhere. Why we never seen any camera footage, any surveillance, no nothing? Or is this just going to be another situation where people just sweep it under the rug and it just goes unnoticed and unsolved as time go by? Now here's what some people were saying at the time of the situation. Alpo had just received a $4 million check with Netflix to do a documentary on his life. He's been waiting forever for that moment, and it's alleged that Mary J. Blige and Diddy's baby mother Niecy helped him achieve that. There's also rumors floating around that Alpo was having intimate relations with Niecy and Diddy didn't like it, but that's another story. So some people feel that Alpo either one, took the money, decided to get low and disappear from everyone, and as ironic as that sounds, there's a lot of people that do feel that way. They feel like everything was staged. And one of the reasons they feel like that is because of the inconsistencies with the story that we was told. Now, first and foremost, we see the type of truck that he was in. It was a high truck. And when you look at how the bullets were, it didn't seem like somebody was shooting upward. It looked like somebody actually was shooting downward as the bullet placings and the way it looked. It looked like they were shooting downward or at least directly next to each other. So it's either they had the same type of truck where they was up high too, or something just isn't right. But they told us it was a drive-by. But like I said, that's a whole nother story. Now, they also pointed out the fact that it was no blood on the scene. We didn't see any pictures of Alpo's body. We didn't see anything about a funeral unless it was private, and just a whole bunch of other stuff that just didn't make sense. Now, secondly, you have other people that feel he was taken out or set up due to receiving that big check, that they didn't want Alpo to get out there, or I don't know, right? To be honest with y'all, we don't know what happened, right? A lot of people feel that if it wasn't staged and he didn't try to get off the grid himself, then he was taken out and set up by, them people. But like I said, man, we don't know what happened. But one thing's for sure, two things for certain. The fact that the number one suspect had been acquitted with no real details as to why he was, it says a lot. And once again, if he's not the one that did it, then who is? So I'm gonna just leave y'all with that. Y'all jump in the comments and let me know what y'all think about Alpo's alleged suspect being acquitted for his passing, and what do you think is the reason behind it? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'ma keep on dropping. And I'm out.